Hi, thanks so much for coming today. It was a really great talk. I did miss the first 5 minutes, so if you already covered this, feel free to just tell me to go watch the video on YouTube later. Cards Against Humanity came out about 4 years before Exploding Kittens.
About 8 years, yeah.
Oh, 8 years. Okay. I just Googled that, so something is wrong with Google. Can somebody check into that? Okay, so did that have a big influence on changing the mentality of how we're playing games? Because I grew up playing games like you were talking about. Sometimes they're very isolating, sometimes they're family games and group games with your siblings. And for me, Cards Against Humanity was kind of a breakthrough into, oh yeah, I like gaming. I forgot that I like to play games and I don't want to be isolated and wearing some AR, VR kind of outfit to do it.
Yeah, it's a great point. Maybe I've got the year wrong if you've Googled it.
Google's never wrong.
Yeah. Cards Against Humanity started as a Kickstarter project, so whenever they came out, it's actually very well documented. They changed everything. They, like you said, they kind of reminded people that games were fun. But the way they did it, I'm very good friends with them. I love that game. I've played probably more of that game than anyone else on the planet. And it's because what I learned from that game, and what I think kind of all game designers learned from that, is that games should not be entertaining. Games should make the people you're playing with entertaining. And previously, before Cards Against Humanity, like when you look at games from the 50s through the 80s, games worked so hard to be entertaining. Monopoly and Uno and the Game of Life and Stratego and all these games, which I play all the time and I really like, they were trying very hard to be as entertaining as possible. Cards Against Humanity said, no, screw that. The whole concept is the people you're playing with have to be the entertainment value. And when I sat down to design Exploding Kittens, that was written on my wall. And if you look at the game with kind of a keen design eye, every card in Exploding Kittens is designed to create a relationship between you and another player at the table. Very, very specifically designed that way, because the mantra is create a relationship, let them have fun on their own. Create another relationship, let them have fun on their own. And that relationship can be positive or adversarial or whatever it is, but it has to be them. You have to cede the control over to them. And I think that's what Cards Against Humanity kind of taught the gaming world and ushered in this incredible renaissance of tabletop gaming.
And I think that you probably drew a lot of influence from Uno, I would guess, in Exploding Kittens.
Yeah, our game gets compared to Uno quite a bit. Uno is like the game I was raised on. Yeah. And so whatever I do is based on Uno, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, you got to skip a turn.
So I wanted to ask, as far as electronic games or video games that could be said to not be isolating, are you aware of, for example, the Jackbox party games?
Yeah, Jackbox party games are a great example of non-isolating games. The other one that I've spent way too much time playing is Space Team. If anyone's played that on your iPhone or Android phone, that game for me is like the epitome of make the people you're playing with the entertainment. If you don't have it, go download this game. It is really just the finest thing out there. All the Jackbox series, I think they've got 7 series out there now, 7 different versions. It's probably 80% of them are just spectacular. And so you buy a pack and there's 7 or 8 games in there and you will love 5 of them. And that's a pretty good ratio for a giant pack of games. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. But really the litmus test for me is just what is the point of this game? Is this game trying to entertain me, or is it trying to make the people I'm playing with entertaining? And games that so clearly pass that are the games I love and cherish and spend all my time playing with my friends.
Can you also share some, related to that question, can you also share some insight on the game that you play with your friends physically with you versus...
I will just say, just because I love plugging this game, there's a game out there called Happy Salmon. It's a physical card game. It is the game I have played most in the last year and a half, probably. I think it's probably the finest game on the market. go buy this game. It's you know, it's a $8 or $10 investment. Go buy this game. The game lasts 90 seconds, start to finish, and I've never played it for less than 2 hours because the moment you're done, you just want to play again. It is a game. I'm tempted to just tell you how to play, but you really should see the cards. It'll take you 5 minutes to learn, but this game involves a lot of very, very fast and casual physical contact. High-fiving people, fist-bumping people, running in a circle around people. And the endorphins and the adrenaline that result from this super, super simple game, if you are not smiling and laughing while playing this game, you have no soul. And it is games like that that allow people to celebrate their group of friends, their playmates, that I think are currently, we're watching, they're changing the world right now. The board game industry went from, you know, a few tens of millions of dollars a year to now well over $1 billion. And that's because of games. It's because of this renaissance. It's because people are getting a little bit overwhelmed by their screens. Obviously, screens will always be a part of our lives, but people are starting to say, look, there has to be time when we walk away from these things. There has to be a few moments at night, a few moments on the weekends, whatever it is, where we just enjoy the people we're around, and to have the tools to enable us to do so are becoming more and more a welcome addition into all of our homes.
Yeah, but to add that, like the bandwidth is increasing, you know, when these guys are playing games, actually they talk to their friends, like even though they are not physically with them, and maybe there could be some like video or virtual reality, whatever, to connect them.
I not only do I agree with that, but we're definitely starting to see it, right? Like as the bandwidth goes up, as the communities are being more and more emphasized in the world of video games, those kinds of interactions are certainly increasing, and it's really exciting to see, and it's so necessary. So I'm very excited about it. I used to be 100% anti-screen, but we now did an Exploding Kittens mobile game specifically because we realized, look, there's ways to do this. There's ways to encourage people that, although they're looking at a screen, to still celebrate the people they're playing with, the people in the room, to laugh out loud, pass your phone around. And so all those things are very, very doable, and some of the smartest people out there are working on it. And I love that we're all sort of stealing and collaborating and helping each other accomplish that goal. So it's such an exciting time to be building games right now.
So much of what you've done has been building communities to, you know, build your products. But what do you do when communities become too big and then negative influences start to kind of percolate?
Yeah. So here's a great example of that. The very first alternate reality game I worked on was called The Beast. And it was a project associated with Steven Spielberg's movie AI. Spielberg asked me to essentially build a sequel to the movie AI, and then we would release it before AI and let people live in that world before the movie came out. And me and my team spent 6 months building this thing. And we spent 6 months building 6 months worth of content. And the idea was, look, the audience is going to take 6 months to go through this content. And while they're going through all the content we built, we'll spend that time building another 6 months of content. So we'll have a year-long game built over the course, a staggered year, and we should be fine. And the first day, so many people showed up that they digested all 6 months worth of content in 20 minutes. That was a very big crowd. And it got really scary. Like at that moment, we realized this is a different kind of game, and we have to play it and create it in real time. And I'd say when giant audiences show up, there's two very important things you have to do. One is you have to stop thinking about this as a pre-canned thing. It must be collaborative. It must be created and edited and adjusted in real time so that it feels alive, so that many brains throwing themselves at this thing feel like they're throwing it at a living entity that is worth their time and attention. And the second thing is you have to delegate to the actual community. There's no way we can read every message posted, every tweet, every Facebook post. There's no way. There's just too much. And so you have to start reaching out to the community, assigning managers, assigning moderators, and entrusting them to filter up the most relevant things so that you immediately do know when things are broken, when things need adjustment. And you'll often get it wrong, and you have to adjust your community management as well. But it's so important to share the reins with the community. Otherwise, you have no chance of success.